That's what family is for. Technically, Remus was older than Virgil, and Janice thought, pointing out that, as the older one, he had to take care of the new baby side and protect him, would get him to attempt to get a hold of himself for the little worrywart sake. Truth it was always the other way around. Virgil was the one looking after Remus, dragging him away kicking and screaming when he deemed things too dangerous, and patching him up whenever he managed to have some actual fun. It wasn't what Jay intended, but it did keep Remus out of trouble some of the time, which meant he didn't have to work as hard at helping Thomas live in denial about his less than wholesome thoughts. Evidently, he'd taken it as a win, though he insisted Remus give Virgil a break once in a while, not wanting the youngest of his charges would spend all his energy looking after Remus instead of doing his actual job and or taking care of himself. When Virgil left, after his fight with Janice and then his argument with Remus when the latter didn't take his baby boy's side, Remus thought their days of getting weird on his side of the imagination were over and done with. Not that he cared. Virgil hadn't been the kid that was secretly super impressed with his creations and how good he was at pulverizing his enemies for a long time. So it wasn't even that fun to bring him along anymore. But when he did go, he often saw a shadow watching him just on the edge of his field of vision. And when he got in over his head, a different, much darker creature usually came in and attacked whatever he was getting himself all tangled up with, which distracted the first monster and got Remus an advantage. Whenever he encountered Virgil, he acted like he didn't want to be around him, but Remus could see him check if he was injured. That's family for you. Even when you can't be in the same room together, you care. We felt like he had to take some distance from the ground floor to grow and all that junk Remus never felt the appeal of. That was fine. Maybe he'd come back one day when he realized it was more fun back home. Okay, so maybe Remus missed V a little. But if he dwelled on that, then his own thoughts would make him go completely crazy. And not in a fun way. As it was, things were a bit nuts in the Nightscape after the wedding fiasco. V was probably busy doing damage control, so it was possibly not the best idea to go look for a fight. But Thomas's mind was dwelling to everyone who'd ever said a mean thing about him, so those creatures would be stirred awake, and it would be Remus's absolute pleasure to cause some catalysis by beating the every little crap out of them in a way Thomas would never be able to really consider himself. He got in a little bit over his head, though. The last thing he remembered before it was lights out was the sound of a horse neighing. He was in pretty bad shape, like feverish and delirious kind of bad shape. He knew he was delirious because he never laid in a field to stargaze, and he wouldn't be doing it with a 12-year-old virgin of Virgil. Just relax, Ree, Virgil said next to him, his voice strange and distant. We never relax. That's what's fun about us, he argued. Time to try something new, Virgil insisted. Remus groaned in complaint, but tried to focus on the stars above. Twinkle, twinkle, little star, he sang as off key as possible. Virgil chuckled next to him, and that brought him back. Remus, you're being gross! It was sunny now, and Virgil was laughing next to him on the couch. They were still 12, but this he remembered. You'll love it when I'm being gooey, he drawled as he shifted his form so his face and hands slowly started to melt. Virgil snorted. Stop leaking on the couch. Jay is going to go mental, he warned. Might be fun, Remus shrugged, but he went back to normal. He felt something cold and wet dripping from his forehead. Was he still dripping? He opened his eyes. His vision was blurry. Go back to sleep. Your fever hasn't gone down yet. Rest. Virgin? He croaked. Not on purpose. It was just the best he could do right now. Is he awake? Janet? Sort of. He's not out of the woods yet. Now, that was weird. They were not at each other's throats. Remus felt himself fall back down into his mind. It made more sense there, and that was saying something. He drifted back down until he opened his eyes laying on the floor. He was studying the shadows and the cracks on the ceiling. Do you ever think Janice might be wrong? Virgil wondered from his place on the couch. I think everyone is wrong all the time, Remus shrugged. His way of seeing life was much more fun, but not suitable, as the nerd had called it at some point. Virgil threw me a pillow. I'm serious, Remus, Virgil scolded. I mean, we could maybe make them listen to us a little, Virgil said softly, looking about to see if the snake man heard. Remus cackled. Yeah, I'm sure my bro can't wait to hear all about what I have on my mind, he objected. Virgil groaned. Whatever, never mind. Remus blinked a few times, and he was met with a blurry vision again. He could see he was in the commons now, though. The cute and cuddly commons at that. Weird. You are doing better, Ree. Your injuries are healing. You'll get through this. Just sleep it off for a bit longer. We're getting there. Virgil's voice insisted, as Remus felt something tighten around his arm. Virgil was a blur at his side and not looking at him, but clearly he was tending to his injuries. Has he risen yet? Oh, wow. He never thought he'd hear Woke concerned like that. Not for him. He's opened his eyes, but I don't know if he's really present, Virgil responded. You are not allowed to perish on me like this, you hear me? We still have many battles to fight, with one another and against each other, the woman stated decisively. He's going to pull through, Will, Virgil said. Has he ever been like this before? Woman asked. Virgil paused. No, but it's Remus. He's like a cockroach. He'll pull through, you'll see, Bee insisted. With you watching over him, I have no doubt he is in the best possible care, Woman offered in reassurance, realizing Bee needed to be comforted, something Remus had always had some difficulty providing. But he tried his best. He was very good at understanding where V's thoughts took him, though, so it evened out. It was kinda nice to hear Roman so not trying to stab him. Remus let out a weak chuckle. Virgin, right, sugar plums. Listen, he managed before he went under again. His dreams were more of his normal variety this round. Things that would make Patty Cake either blush so hard he'd faint or make his hair turn white out of fright. When his eyes opened this time, he felt exhausted and closed them again without prompting. He wasn't better yet, so he might as well. He felt a hand on his forehead. His fever's nearly gone. Well, shook him gently with a python. Daddy was here. He could hear the sound of a tray with dinner being put on the table. The infections have cleared too. He'll be disappointed he missed the good bits, Virgil scoffed. Be sure to take care of yourself too, kiddo, Patton insisted. Any of us could take over, he suggested. It's my job. I'll be fine, Virgil insisted. Falsehood. It is our job as a collective to look after one another, if for no other reason than for Thomas's well-being. Ooh, Nerd was here too. I know. Just a bit longer. If the fever doesn't clear by tonight, I'll take a break, Virgil promised. He must have been out for a long time if they'd managed to wear Warrior champion Virgil out. With that thought, Remus drifted off again. He opened his eyes from a dreamless sleep and found Virgil still by his side, asleep on the ground next to the comfy couch in the living room. Hi, he said, his voice almost completely back to normal. Virgil shot up and turned to him, checking his fever in an instant. He relaxed when he found the temperature to his liking, and then pinched him in the arm. Ow! Remus complained. That's for putting us through hell for a week, Virgil scolded. That long? Did I miss anything juicy? He wondered. Virgil groaned. Other than everyone coming by every hour? Not really. I timed it. We have about 20 minutes before Jay checks in. Or before he would check in. I should go get the others, but first. Virgil sat on the edge of the bed and looked at him seriously. Who did this? he asked coldly. Remus rolled his eyes. A swarm of comments, a heckler, and Timmy Jones from 7th grade, he huffed. Things that ate at Thomas's self-esteem, like hecklers, haters, and bullies, manifested as monsters in Remus's world. Things he could beat up easily. At least, he used to be able to handle them no problem. Virgil sighed and thought about it. I think I think Roman would like to help you get a rematch once you are healed. It might do you both some good, he mused. I'll come with to make sure you don't bash his head in after you two are done, he added. Remus chuckled. He didn't ask how he got here. He had a pretty good idea. Nightmares were Virgil's creatures. He looked around the room. Why did I end up here? He wondered. Virgil shrugged. Commons are safer than any of our rooms, and this one is cleaner, he stated. That was indeed the one worry Virgil usually had if he needed to take care of injuries in the past. Was it the fever? Or did you and J Double D really have a civil conversation? Remus asked, trying to sound casual. We have a ceasefire, until he does something shady and hurts anyone again. Virgil nodded. Remus supposed that was progress. Well, I'll go tell everyone that you're up and about. You gotta take it easy for a bit longer, but Virgil got up and started walking away. Hey, Stinky Face! Remus called. Virgil turned, not even a little phased at his insult. Thanks, Remus said. Virgil smiled a little. Sure, that's what family's for, right? Then he turned and left without waiting for an answer. Not that Remus minded. Virgil was right. That was what family was for.